All right, this is tool stories number 3. Now, what you see here are pencils. Regular pencil. This is a drafting pencil. It's a 4H. It's the pencil you do the drawing with first. And then after you erase your construction lines, you come back over everything with a 2H. The 4H is a harder lead, but it doesn't make as dark of a trace. It's easier to erase. Okay. Now, these are mechanical pencils. Now, in this case, this is probably a Papermate. It's got the 2 little hearts on it. This is from my high school days. This is what I would use to do different drawings for science and electronics in school. Okay, still got them. All right. Now, this one here goes with my cross pen. This was my award pencil that went with the pen set. I kept this. This is a lead, mechanical pencil. It's got lead in it, or you should actually say graphite. All right. This is a more modern version with a finger. In other words, this is rubber and it's starting to degrade. But in other words, this is when you're using a pencil or a pen a long period of time. If you have padding down here, it makes it a lot nicer. All right. Now, this is my go-to mechanical pencil. And you can actually turn this dial here for whatever lead you have in it. I don't think it even wants to turn anymore. But I bought this at DuPont Graphics, and that was my go-to place to get supplies for mechanical drawing. Gotta remember, I'm old enough, there were no computers. So if you laid out a circuit board and you want to etch it and all that, you would use grid paper. I don't know if the grid's showing up. I know when you copy this, the grid does not show up. It's a color that the copier won't copy. So in other words, you do a drawing on this grid, and then you put it in the copier, and it looks like the drawing. The grid doesn't show up, so it makes the drawing look a lot nicer. Okay, and this is 10 squares per inch, and that translates into the old ICs, the pin spacing on the pins. So you could actually draw in an IC on here and do your wiring, and then change that into a circuit board. Okay, old school. Know how to do it and use. This is the pencil I use. This is actually one of the pads of paper. All right. Now I want to show you the creme de la creme. I think it's creme de la creme. One of the best. Okay. Now this. Let's get these out of the way. This is a lead pencil or a graphite pencil, and it's a Venus. Okay. And you squeeze this tip on the back here, and when you do, the drawers open up, and you can move the lead in and out. Okay? Could use this for other things, but this is old school, years ago. This thing was like $7 years ago, maybe more. And then here's the leads. They come in a really nice package. Okay? And in this case, they're 2H's. And that's the final drawing lead. In other words, it's darker, and it's very hard to erase. Once you go over a drawing with 2H, the mistakes are going to show up. Okay, that's why you draw in 4H first. Now you're going to say, "What the hell's this thing? What's in the box?" Ooh, an unboxing. Let me make fun of the unboxers. Ooh, and then they open it up and they don't know what it is. Now I open this up. This thing might have fallen apart. It might have degraded. It might not work. Okay, it's been in the box for 50 years. Okay, this was when you were in drafting in high school and you were serious. Us serious draftsmen had this. We brought this into school with us. All right, let me take it out of the box. Ooh. Okay, you put the pencil in here like this. Let's see if it still works. And you go around like this. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, I do videos no one else does, huh? And I make fun of them. And as you go around, it puts a point on there. And I really didn't like drawing with a really sharp point. So after I sharpen it, I would touch it up on, they had this little they weren't emery boards. They were these little miniature files that you could work your lead. And I'd rework my lead and put the exact tip on my pencil. But this is when you were serious about the class. You had one of these. You kept it in your locker. You brought it every day to class. And there were like 3 of us in the drafting class. And they were going to do away. They were going to do away with the drafting class. They were going to make it a teacher's lounge. And I got one of the real smart kids that his parents pulled a lot of clout. I went up to him and I said, where are you going to go to college? And he told me, and I said, call him up and see if you need drafting. So he had another year to go, and he went home and told his parents. They called the school, and the school came back and said, yeah, the course he's taken, he really should have at least a year of drafting. So he comes back and he goes into the principal's office. He tells him, instead of a study hall the next year, he wants drafting. And then they're giving him, well, we're going to turn it into a teacher's lounge. Well, he goes back, tells his parents. And his parents came down on him and cut the principal a new a-hole. And then the teacher that taught drafting, he comes up to me, he goes, what did you do? I said, well, I just got one of the powerful kids with powerful family to realize that he needed drafting in the college he was going to. And because it wasn't a general course, but anyway, they come back and said, yeah, you really want to drafting, just in case you're going to architectural, you want a general idea what the hell's going on. So the next year was my final senior year. We had all new equipment. It was hilarious. Yeah, they wanted another teacher's lounge so the teachers could smoke without having to walk the length of the school to go smoke. Okay, that's what it was really all about. So let's do away with the drafting course. We don't need engineers out of our school. We put out teachers, kids that'll become teachers, and we pump out kids that may be athletes. It never happened. We never got a really good athlete. But I just wanted to show you, some of the stuff, and I'll tell you, I'll make people crazy. This is going in the garbage. I'll keep this, but this is going to garbage. This has not been turned in 50 years. Okay? And I think it's got dust on it. Now, how did it get dust on it if it's been in the box? I don't know. And this wasn't cheap. This was like $20 when I bought it. That was a big thing when I had a job in high school, and I would buy myself some really toys. But it was always something in education. I was real serious. But I just want to tell you a quick story about using grid paper. I don't know if the grid's showing up. I don't see it on the monitor. But there's grids. It's 10 squares per inch. Now, my father borrowed some of my paper. I had some of the larger sheets, and they had bigger squares. And he wanted to take the before Kitchen Saver? Yeah, before the company Kitchen Saver came along, my father got the idea to resurface the kitchen with Formica. So he did. He did it, and then he kept coming to me and go, can I borrow your special saws? I had these Japanese saws for woodworking because I was going to go into industrial arts. I was going to teach drafting and maybe wood shop. Okay, that's what, if I went to college. I didn't go to college. I went to electronics school. But anyway, can I borrow those special saws you had? And it's called, I think, a Japanese saw. You can cut flush with the wood and cut off a dowel. And then also I had saws that cut backwards. And it worked really good with the Formica. He had places where he couldn't get in with the router, and he had to go in there with these saws and then use a file. Kitchen came out really good originally, and then he needed to do the doors. So he laid all the doors out, and then he was going to go, he goes, can you help me? Can you go to me to the lumber yard? I want to get some, it used to be pressed wood. And I'm going to make the doors out of it. I said, you're bringing that home? You're going to cut that in the house? And he goes, why? What's wrong? I said, we're not allowed to cut that in school, in the wood shop, because that makes such a mess. So he goes, well, what do I do? I said, let me do the talking. So I go there, and he's got the dimensions, and we hand it to a guy, and he says to me, I can get all those doors for your kitchen out of one piece of 4x8 plywood. And my father didn't think so. I said, let him try. So we go pick the doors up, and they're all cut, no dust in our house. He's ready to start putting his Formica on there and running the router around with the special bit for Formica. I don't know if you've ever seen that done. But anyway, we bring it back, and there's 4 doors. The guy, he just took what the piece that was left over and cut it up into 4 doors, the wrong size. So my father's looking at me, he goes, I'm too embarrassed to go back. I said, no problem. I said, I know another lumber yard, and we'll go down there. And there were 2 lumber yards that the school dealt with, one across the street from the school, and then I knew the other guys down at, well, one guy worked in the one lumber yard, and then he moved down to the other lumber yard. So I walked in and I saw him. He remembered me. I used to get the wood for school, for the class. The teacher would send me across the street with a list, and I'd bring it back. That's how I met the guy. So I go down to the other lumber yard, and I tell him the whole story. I said, look, this guy said he could get all the pieces, blah, 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 blah. He says, I charge you $5. I said, no problem. So he cut the, out of scrap, he cut his 4 doors, and my father went to work putting the Formica on. But it was so funny. My father was too embarrassed to go back to the guy and say, you said you could, because the guy did cut all the doors out for free. And then when my father got at home, he realized how much work and how true they were cut. Because he had an old crappy table saw. So he's actually really happy. But then there were 4 doors that were the wrong size. We went to the other guy that I knew. He made it right. And my dad went to work on that. But this was, I don't know if you can see the squares, but I have this in several types. And I think this is the one that you can't see with the copier. But you do your drawings, and then you run it through the copier machine, and the grid disappears. And it looks really nice. Okay, and that's what I used for when I was doing IC work, when ICs first came out. But you know, you're talking almost 50 years ago. You know, even this is 50 years ago. It's actually 53 years old. You know, sad. You know, but you got to throw this stuff out, because when I die, it is going to go in the garbage. And I had the one guy wanted the tape. Listen to this. You hear this sound? Wait, listen. Ready? That's that sharpener going in the garbage. And like I said, it cost me $20. But I'm throwing this stuff out because I open a drawer and I see this stuff, and it's been there for 50 years, and it distracts me from what I'm actually doing. I can actually go and open a drawer and then even forget what I was looking for, because one of those memories pops out at me. You know, I was hot shit in high school with drafting. I was really into it. And like I told you in one story, the teacher I had for the final year, he made me go back and do all the drawings from the year before. And then before I could go on to what I was like, and then I was struggling because you're doing the same drawing again, it's boring. And at the end, he come up to me one day, he goes, I'm really sorry I made you do that. But he doubled down. I said, I actually have the drawings at home. I can bring the drawings in and show them to you, and then I can. He doubled down on me, and he was my. I was in a bowling club, and he was in charge of the bowling club. I had him for woodshop, and I had him for drafting, and he knew me really well. Even after I graduated, I'd bring him line courts from Willway for the tools, and he felt really bad. And then he said he's sorry, but anyway, that's the way that went. So, you know, this stuff just follows me. You know, like I said, I got the drawings at home. I can run home, get the drawings, bring them up, show you that I did them. My name's on them. They've been graded by the teacher before, who was a ball breaker. And now I can go on to, no, he didn't. He says, no, you got to do those drawings over. Because the other guys in the class, they didn't save their drawings. So we all basically had one teacher, we did certain drawings, and then we got the new teacher, and he wanted those drawings done. He wanted to see them. It was stupid. He doubled down, he made a mistake, and then he did admit it finally. But what a nightmare. But I just wanted to show you, you know, everything I do is now on computer. You know, you say, oh, I don't use that. I use computer. So do I. But I saved some of the stuff. And these are keepsakes. You know, even this is from high school. This is the actual drawing pencil I kept at home. And I used to do other kids' drawings when they get behind in school. I had a drafting table, and they bring their drawing home, and I'd set it up, and I'd catch them up on the drawing, and they'd take the drawing back in school. And then you got to hear this one guy talk after he got out of high school. I did this, I did that. I did the drawings, but he changes the stories. I won't mention his name, but he would change the story. Yeah, I took drafting, I was really good. No, you weren't really good. I did your drawings for you. It's amazing stuff. I think that's it. All right, that's it.